Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media.
Welcome
home, y'all, to this mini-pod of Native Land. I'm here with Andrew Gillum and Angela Ryan, and we are already off the chain, y'all. Because
They
y'all
off the
not
chain.
ready for this.
They
We
off the
chain, too.
They off the chain.
We, on this mini-pod, because Andrew told us this crazy
if
story.
there are any children
We
or religious
decided
people listening,
to, I'll get to that,
and
Andrew.
exit.
We decided that
It's
we
on
were
the
going to
spectrum.
tell the story of the craziest situation you've ever found yourself in. And so some of these stories, I'll tell you heads up, some are going to be clean and funny, but I'm going to just tell you now, this is not for young kids listening when I get to my story, because it is an absolutely crazy story. So proceed with caution.
I just want to warn the parents again, do not let your kids listen to when Tiff's voice come on this podcast, cut it off.
Andrew, tell us the craziest situation you found yourself in.
Well, the funny thing is one, I actually think I had a lot of crazy stories on the trail.
Yes.
But it's like, actually, I've been trying to black them all out. But there have been some crazy things that have happened, but I keep it innocent. I, in a former life, worked as a part fundraiser for an organization and raising money for the cause, the work we were doing. And I was actually out on a visit to LA, visiting with one of our donors.
I don't
was in
even
her
think you should
home
go first, because yours go well better with Tiff than mine. I should have went first.
No, mine's not. I mean, I'm at this donor's
Fine.
house. We're sitting down, beautiful,
We
beautiful
could at least start
spot.
at G-rated.
Lives in Beverly Hills.
That's true.
And I love her, dearly. But she has, she's got animals. And I love animals. I think they're great. I just don't own any.
I think they're great.
But I think I'm probably less a fan of cats. I just have had for a long time this vision that they might strike me.
They will.
Which actually got cemented with this one visit that I had out in LA. And so we're sitting there, I'm explaining the update of the program. I'm sitting on her couch. She's across, diagonal to me, actually, sitting in a chair, an armchair. And her cat comes from around the corner, and I see it, walking real, like cats walk,
What they
slowly.
doing,
But
Andrew? What
except
they
for
doing?
me,
What they
because
do?
I'm they're like the pat thing. And I am, you know how they do this just sort of, it's a sexy thing, but it's kind of scary
Not
to
the
me. I
cat
always think
sexy
they're
walk.
about to pounce.
That's why they call it the catwalk.
I know,
Okay.
Fran. So the cat comes around her, goes in front of her feet, and then it rounds the little coffee table, and now it's to my right, and I'm speaking to her to my diagonal left. And as the cat starts to approach the couch and comes toward, down toward my legs, she says, "Oh, no. Don't pet her. She's schizophrenic." So I'm like, schizophrenic. I'm processing a lot here. Schizophrenic cat. Schizophrenic, is it same like human schizophrenia? Like it can change attitudes and moods without notice?
This is not funny.
And then the cat goes from the floor and effortlessly jumps from the floor to the seated part of the couch and then up the arm of the couch and is now on where you rest your head, the back of the couch. And it's now approaching me from my right, but I'm supposed to be talking to her who is on my left. But I'm processing that the cat is schizophrenic, and all I can imagine is this thing is going to fucking swipe my neck and face when I'm turned. And it continues to come. And so I go, I don't know if I should pet it or, what I do. And then she calls the cat's name and the cat sort of, jumps down onto this, again, the seated part. I've now stood up. And partially stood up because I don't want to be completely awkward, but I want to acknowledge.
Already when you partially stood
I'm
up.
attempting to acknowledge that you don't want me to pet the cat, and I'm so inclined to pet the cat. So let me just get out of the way so I don't pet the cat.
Meanwhile, wait, hold on.
Really
narrator edit. He does not want to pet this cat.
No, Andrew,
I'm trying to be
I know,
respectful.
but I just want to make sure they
I'm
know.
trying to be respectful.
You don't really want to pet the cat. That's what you
I
lying
don't really
to
want to
this
pet the
lady.
cat. I want her to come and get the pet and move the pet into a room that we aren't in. But she does a little thing, and let's just call her Betty. Okay, Betty, over here, Betty.
What's the cat's
over here,
real
Betty.
name, Andrew?
I ain't telling because they might know. Betty is still now seated on the couch where I was seated a minute ago. And at this point, I'm now sort of standing seated, but the woman hasn't come and gotten the cat yet. And then I said, you know what? It's okay. If you want to take a break, I don't mind if we take a break. So, Betty, in case you wanted to have Betty come with you. And she says, oh, no, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. And at this point, now I'm sort of on my face, not giving relief, but like frustration. And I hurried through the rest of the story with her. I did sit down and I kept my eye on Betty to my right without looking disrespectful to the woman who I was there to meet. But I tell y'all, if peeing on yourself a little bit on somebody else's couch was appropriate, I probably
that is a wild situation.
I mean, it's just, what do you do? Someone says
the cat is schizophrenic.
I would say I'm seeking a restraining order.
Yeah,
because she's schizophrenic. What does
a schizophrenic cat do?
I don't think my eyes told the story.
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell y'all this G-rated story is making me real hesitant to tell my story. So Angela, I hope you gotta.
It didn't swipe me, and I got out of there when it was.
Okay, I'm definitely rethinking telling my story.
That's my G-rated.
I'm having second thoughts completely.
You are?
Angela,
no.
Yes, because y'all G-rated ass stories, but Angela, let me hear yours.
There are no studies or research that proves cats have schizophrenia. We cannot get inside their minds enough to know. So maybe that gives you a little bit of comfort. Not then, Andrew, but maybe now in case you run up against another one. Look at his face.
We got 9 minutes left, y'all. I need to hear.
I don't need all the story. I don't need all the.
Well, we're gonna go from a very G-rated story to I'll give it a PG-13. Even though I was just 8, I had just taken my first communion. I was raised Catholic with my mother and my father. My dad is Baptist, but I was raised Catholic until I was in high school and started asking more questions and decided that I would go the Protestant route, and now I go to a Church of God in Christ Church. Nevertheless, here we go. So first communion, 2nd grade, my mother made me this beautiful dress. I had a pretty veil that day. I was fly down to the socks, white patent leather shoes. And after first communion in our family, my mother's side of the family is from Southern Louisiana, so Catholicism is a big deal. It's a big deal to have first communion, and you have a little after party. So we had a little after party. And speaking of cats, I had a cat growing up. His name was Tiger. And I was trying to get Tiger. All the family was over, including my grandparents and my great aunts and uncles. And I couldn't get the cat. And so I was running after the cat and I said, "Come here, you little bastard." Again, I was in the 2nd grade, and bastard is not something they want you to say any day, especially not on First Communion Day in front of all the elders. So it was like a record stop, and my dad goes, "What did you just say?" I was like, that's what you call the cat. That's the nickname. So I learned that day that bastard was a bad word, at least in my family, and that is not the appropriate name for Tiger the cat, bastard. So the world stopped, and I thought I was going to hell because I said a cuss word on First Communion Day. But alas, here we are. Although we still might be in hell, depending on how you look at the state of this country right now. But
touche.
Yes.
Touche.
First communion.
I got a whooping for saying that was the somebody was helpful. I
shouldn't have been Catholic, actually. I don't know.
First time.
I don't know.
First time.
You got a
bastard on communion day.
You had first communion?
No. I'm just saying you bastard on communion day. I got a whooping because I said the word help. I heard adults saying, "Oh, he's so helpful. She's so helpful." So I was trying to say that somebody was being helpful, but my mother and auntie heard it as heifer, which I had no idea what a heifer was.
You said heifer?
And I got a whooping.
He's so heifer.
I was trying to say helpful. She's helpful.
Heifer. He's
helpful. Helpful. She thought I said heifer.
Poor baby.
So, but you really did say bastard.
Yeah, no, I
didn't
actually
really say
said,
heifer.
"Come here, you little bastard," and the world stopped in that moment. But it's not the craziest situation I've been in, but it's probably the most awkward where I felt like I disappointed the whole family and was in trouble. And I really didn't know it. My dad shouldn't have been calling the cat a bastard. Dad, Papa Ryan, this is your fault. Shouldn't have been calling the cat a bastard.
They're impressionable. Okay? So now we are going to graduate from PG.
I mean, these stories have got me feeling like my story is completely inappropriate. If these for y'all adult lives.
I think you should give it. Come on.
Well, because you're an instigator. So
Give the people something.
Give them what they want.
Okay, if you've been listening with your family up until now thinking, oh, these are cute little stories, now would be the time to tell your kids this part of the story ain't for you.
Yeah, this ain't
and even if you 20, like you got to be 25 and older to hear this
Maybe
story.
32.
Okay? Maybe, yeah. As a matter of fact, you got to be 40 plus to hear this story.
Give it.
All right, I'm going to tell it quickly because we're running out of time. I'm in my 20s, and in Washington, D.C., this is where Angela and I were professionally groomed. So it's, there's a high standard of excellence and everything got to be on tight. So it's a very intense environment. Yeah. And so we had fun when we would hang out together, and that's when you forge lifelong friendships and, you meet people and get close. So I was friends with some young ladies, and we started talking one night about the act of fellatio. Okay. And so
I was not at this conversation, by the way, because she threw me in here. I was not there.
Angela was not there. She knows everybody who was, but she was not there.
Oh,
and we started talking about, but like, how exactly are you supposed to do it? We were in our 20s, and we were like, is it like, are you like trying to get a golf ball through a water hose? You just bobbing and weaving? Like, what are you doing?
This is very
serious. As a result. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all talk about cats and schizophrenic cats and communion.
Continue.
Anyway.
Well, we did talk about cats.
Yeah. So we're figuring it out. And we're like, yeah, I don't really know, girl. I don't really know. And we're like, you know what, guys? We should have a party and like have a little cocktail party. And we'll call it Cocktails Over Cocktails. And so we invited like some girls, like, okay, we're all going to this girl's house. We're going to have a little party. Just some little silly thing to do on a Saturday. And we're like, we should get somebody to come over, like who really knows and can like tell us all about it. We can ask all our embarrassing questions. So they're like, okay, great. So we're there having a good time. And the person who was supposed to come like just doesn't show up. It's like 11 o'clock. And it's past my bedtime. So the party dying down. Some people leave. It's like 5 or 6 of us left. And then someone knocks at the door, and this woman comes in with a massage table, and a man walks in behind her, and we were really clear this is a girls only gathering. So the guy comes in, and we're all like trying to we're nervous at this point.
I'm nervous at this point.
What is happening? Like we had hired bartenders. Like it was an all girl shebang. So he's literally the only man there, and we're all like, why is he here? Like what's happening? And so she says, is there a place where I can go get changed? And we're all like, okay. And also these people look pretty familiar to us, but we can't quite place it. But it's DC, so everybody looked familiar there. But we've seen them in the spots before. Okay, so the girl comes out, and she's now like in a little negligee, and the guy is nude. Okay, and she proceeds to then give us a live instruction. You guys,
does she verbally talk through it?
She was verbally talking through it and performing, okay? But yes, I am so uncomfortable because none of us expected this.
Right now. I am so uncomfortable right now.
Okay, I want y'all to know, before I told this story, I gave them a preview. I said, I just want y'all to know my story is going to be about this. They said, no, tell it.
I didn't know that you was going to be like, you went to a porn concert.
Okay, can I just tell you? So I'm so uncomfortable. We're so sitting there, and because it gets quiet, of course, when she can't speak. Obviously, because she's speaking it to the mic.
Say more, Andrew.
And so I am like, okay.
Who knew about that? Who did the advance work on this part of this?
Can I finish? Let me just finish this. Let me just finish the story, and then I'll answer all questions. Please hold all questions to the end, please. Thank you. So I'm trying to talk through it because we are all literally petrified. We are frozen looking at this what the hell is happening? And so I'm trying to talk through it because it's awkward silence. And I'm like, okay, so you're grabbing there and you're touching there. And finally one of my friends was like, bitch, would you stop narrating? We can see what's happening. We trying to see. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. So this happens. She finishes.
Does he finish?
Oh my God. Yes. Everybody finishes. And then they pop up and they're like, okay, any questions?
Yeah, tons.
Who y'all think asked the first, third, and last question?
You did.
This is a little journalist right here because I had
Okay,
all
what were
the
your
questions.
first, third, and last questions? Because I know you remember them.
I asked them, had they ever done anything like this before?
Like at a party?
In front of people?
Yeah, like do y'all like do
y'all
this
pay them?
publicly? The host of the event, yes.
This was
Did they take
prostitution.
tips?
Yes, not
They
really.
accepted tips?
It's not really politics. Well,
Did you
because he
pay
wasn't.
tips?
Oh, it was for
I don't
educational
know. I don't know
purposes.
the payment part.
I'm just trying
but
to find out the
what
facts.
we concluded is like, oh shit, you guys, you know how we know these people? They work on Capitol Hill.
Oh my God.
One was a delegate and one worked on Capitol Hill. We were like, oh my God.
One was a
Wait,
delegate.
a delegate of what?
Yes.
A delegate of
kind of
what?
delegate?
Of a political party, and that's all I'm going to say about identities. But it was and then honestly, they got dressed, they left, and we all like it's
So
like
they're
after you witness
professionals.
something so crazy, there are literally no words. Like we didn't even have a conversation about it that night. We all just got up and walked out.
That's
We
how
were
I
like,
feel.
Y'all talked about it since?
let's just go home.
I don't even wanna
have never
welcome
had a
people home,
conversation. The
y'all.
one girl who hosted, she and I have talked about it like, oh my God, that was the craziest shit. Can you believe that? That was the craziest scenario I have ever found myself
Well,
in.
it is redeeming to know that they were fierce professionals about what they did.
Right, that's what I'm like. These were like working professionals who had careers and jobs, and they were sexually
you have to-
uninhibited. And you know, they were like, they were not shy about. You know, they were like, yeah. So this is what's what, and this is what it is. and
Sometimes
boom,
you have to
boom, boom.
moonlight.
I mean,
Well, I guess I don't even know that they were doing it for the money. I think it was like, yeah, y'all want our time. Like this is what it is. Because whatever
like
it was, we didn't.
exhibitionists.
None of us had money like that, so we weren't paying them. But it was right. I think it was a level of exhibitionism. Like you know, they were a couple. They were like a
they
real.
dated?
Yeah.
Yes, this was her boyfriend.
Oh.
This was her boyfriend. And they were like, yeah, okay, y'all want to learn how to do some things? Let me show you how to
Y'all
do
were
some
serious
things.
about that thing?
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I
okay.
really don't appreciate telling this story after you talking about a cat and Angela talking about communion.
Well,
okay.
I think
I
our
thought you were
listeners
saying that
are
this was
across
that
the range.
something happened at an event and it was gonna be like Heard on the Hill kind of scoop. I didn't know that we was gonna be dropped into a Tubi porno. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Okay. You know what? I don't want to air this episode.
You know what? No judgment.
Strike
No, you
this
can't.
entire
You
episode.
can't, Tiff.
We were all adults.
No, Tiff, it's
we were
still
all
a safe
adults.
space. We're just mortified.
We were all adults.
But
You
Tiff,
know,
We were all adults.
imagine if my most awkward story is one time when I was little, I said hell in front of my
You
parents.
know what? You know
Tiff,
what,
I was-
friend?
and
You don't have to
another time
demean.
I was at a
You
political
don't have
party
to
and the
now
cat
she's
demean.
was
throwing
crawling and it
bombs.
was schizophrenic. Ooh,
Tiff,
okay.
in our defense, I told y'all before we started this
Story.
episode, I couldn't think of anything, and I wanted to tell the Steph's favorite story that I tell about being anyway.
But I told y'all what the story was
But
about.
I didn't
Y'all
know,
like, oh,
'cause
tell
I thought
it,
it
tell
was
it.
gonna be at an event. I didn't know that y'all was at a house talking
It
about
was
how
at
to,
an event. This
didn't
was
know.
probably 2006, maybe.
Oh, we don't have to
when
date
I
it
tell
anymore.
y'all,
We know you were young
my insides
thing.
right now are like.
I think you were just
Poor
fine.
Tiff.
All
Angela's
you were
saying
doing
that because I told her who before we started.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, I
actually
don't wanna know.
mortified. My stomach is like, oh
Yeah.
boy.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm
But
gonna tell you
also, I'm
something
not
else afterwards.
surprised because I know who the person.
Right.
Yeah, he was a hoochie.
Right.
He was a hoochie.
Oh, well, welcome
Well, I'm
home,
not
y'all.
this. I don't know
And,
anything
thank
bad
you
about
for
him.
I didn't say
I
it's
joining
bad. I
thank
mean,
him
if you want to be a hoochie, you can be a hoochie.
I don't know if he was a
for
hoochie, but we
this
thank him for
professional
volunteering as tribute.
wide-ranging conversation.
They,
I
Or
tried to
listen
work.
to-
This is
listen
not
to
the
it
without
podcast
the
to listen
babies.
with your
Abort.
kids. This is the craziest
Send
situation
us
I found myself
y'all's
in.
craziest situations. We want to hear about them. Hopefully, they're a little
Yeah.
less X-rated than Tiff's version, and maybe a little more.
But no
This is
judgment.
why I
But
shouldn't
no
have told my
judgment.
No,
story.
Tiff, we
You
know
know,
judgment.
that's why I shouldn't have told my story.
It's across generations, and it's across the range of from PG to
Spectrums.
X-rated. You get all things on Native Land Pod because you are home. So we welcome you home, y'all. Welcome home.
That's right.
y'all.
Shout
I'm
out
not
to the
speaking
cats.
to these two anymore.
Yes, you do. We
Shout out
love
to
you,
the
Tiff.
cats.
We're just glad that you didn't participate in the act.
The cats in all their forms.
Ooh, that should be the name of this podcast. Cats and
home,
dogs.
Welcome. Native Land Pod is a production of iHeartRadio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.